Welcome back to TML Weekly. This is Season 2, Episode 24. As always, brought to you by Bjorn and Don Cherry Sports Grill. So today we'll be going over the past week or so of the Leafs hockey. Quick preview of tonight's game against the Flyers. Scott Laughton's former team, John Tortorella, coming into town. So yeah, you guys want to get into the past couple games first?
Johnny, do you want to give me your
thoughts? I mean, it's been a tale of two teams, hasn't it? Right? You go into Colorado, the Colorado game at home, and the Ranger game in New York, and it was, I mean, that's as good as you can see. Took care of the business in all three zones, and got a little lucky with the ref on the shorty in the Colorado game, but sometimes you got to be lucky to be good, right? The new guy Laughton there, he's playing his old team tonight, and I expect a big night from him tonight. I think he's going to go in there ready, and he's got to fit in a little bit. They just got to, I from what I understand, Berube got quite upset at practice yesterday, stopped practice and really went at them. And,
twice.
Sometimes they need that, obviously, but, they got 10, 12 games to figure it out. And it's showtime. I wouldn't personally risk health to play to get that top seed, although you want the top seed for sure. But it's one of those be careful what you wish for, is right. You could run into an Ottawa team that's might be the best team in the NHL right now, the way they're playing. So, you got to play to win, but you also have to stay healthy. And if a couple of guys need a night off for maintenance on whatever it is that's bothering them, I would certainly entertain that more so than play to win at all costs and win the division. That's just my thoughts. But they've got some time to figure it out and move some stuff around, and it should be good tonight.
So I've watching. Let's start off with Colorado last week. Great game. But if we're being honest, it was the Joseph Wall show. That guy had 39 out of 40 stops and played.
Yeah, made you think about what we were talking about last week, huh?
Listen,
the Stolers.
If you had asked me that next day, it was funny. Karen and I talked about it the other night, and I said, I think I got to change my mind now. Which, I mean, great problem to have, right?
Yeah.
It was a decent game against the Rangers. I think if you're a Rangers fan and you look back, Jacob Trouba, that deal, listen, I understand there were issues and there were problems, but you don't replace a guy like Jacob Trouba with the three of us and then get to be surprised at the end of the year on how bad your defense is. That team is terrible defensively. JT Miller, he looks lost in that lineup. I don't know what's going on in New York. I don't have the answer. Fox looks like he is like a tenth of the player that he was.
Yeah, I thought Fox wasn't even worthy of being on that U.S. team the way he performed in the game.
He was the worst player on that American defense by far, far and away. And I don't know.
Sanderson, I thought was, and then Sanderson outperformed Fox in that tournament.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is for Fox. I don't know what's going on. But it's not good in New York right now. So I don't put a lot of stock into the fact that we look great against the Rangers, because I think everybody's going to look good against the Rangers.
Right.
The game against Nashville, boy, is that not really I'm sure you guys have all seen it too, right? This week, after that game, if I hear one more time, it's same old Leafs doing the same old Leafy things, right? Like, big game, we're going for a division. We come out, we get a couple quick goals, and we think the game's just going to be easy peasy, and we stop playing. And I don't care if you're the last place team in the league. Those guys, they got a lot of pride on the other side of the fence, man. They're not going to let the Leafs get anything easy. And the effort that we put out, remember I said to you that last week, the only thing I want to see is effort.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there. And it's very, very concerning this late into the season. That's where I'm at right now. Like, if everybody on this team says the right things, we all say the right things, man.
We're not on the team, but
but I did love Matthews after the game. They wanted to talk to him about the one time off of the slot, and he goes, it doesn't even matter, man. We didn't win.
Yeah.
And I'm like, part of me really loves that. And part of me says, play better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it after the game and just say like, yeah, but we didn't. Play better. Like, can be consistent with your effort.
I think that game was probably the most frustrating Leafs game of the season this far, because you see early in the day, Florida lost to Washington, Tampa lost to Utah.
It was a
It's a
4-point
game.
6-point game, really.
Yeah, with Tampa, that's true.
Had a chance to really put a stranglehold on both those teams. Playing a bottom 3 team in the league in Nashville, you go up 2-0, almost 3-0. That disallowed goal, and then allow 5 straight, and just piss it away, kind of.
Well, and if you look at it, if you look at the standings, and they're changing every minute, right, from the wild card teams to where Toronto, Florida, and Tampa are. I think obviously you want to win the division if you can. I think the key is to get that second seed. If you're not going to win it, you got to make sure so if Florida goes on a run, you got to make sure you get that game 7 at home if it's Tampa, right? That's going to be a big game. But there's a lot of good teams that are playing really well that are coming into that wild card spot. So, with no expectations, and a team like Ottawa that hasn't been in the playoffs are going to come in pretty pressureless and stress free. And we've talked about it before. Brady Tkachuk is a playoff hockey player. Bottom line, he's a playoff. He performs. So does Claude Giroux, for that matter. I mean, every time he's been in the playoffs in his career, he's made a difference. Right? Went to the final in 2013, or 2010. But so it is what it is. You got to hope that they take steps forward and not steps back. Hopefully, the California trip gets the newer guys and whatnot even more acclimatized. I mean, they've been on the road, it seems, forever. That makes it tough too. It's a lot of teams that you go into, especially. So this, you think, you should get 2 out of 3. LA's playing really well right now.
Have you seen LA's record at home? Do you know what LA's record is at home?
Yeah.
25-3 or something.
Yeah.
It's they are like, talk about a team that's 2 different teams.
Yeah.
They're below 500 on the road and almost unbeatable at home.
25-3-4 at home, 14-18-5 on the road. So,
like that is crazy. That is a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of Western Canadian Maple Leafs fans, and I don't know with the Trump stuff going on and whatnot, but traditionally on that trip, a lot of people will go down, certainly to the LA and the Anaheim games. If you're a Leaf fan from Calgary, or it's cheaper to fly to LA than it is to fly to Toronto to see a game, and then tickets are a quarter of the price, right? Yeah. So a lot of pressure, but pressure is what you make of it. Some guys thrive on it. Hopefully these guys figure it out going into the playoffs, and they do as well.
Okay, so I have an uncomfortable topic to discuss.
Yeah,
and it's something that, like, I think everybody's brought up at one point or another this year. But we got to talk about Morgan Riley, because this is I think we've all given time throughout this year and said he's going to figure it out, and it'll be okay. I think we're at the point now, though, where like it's time to show and prove. And I don't know about you guys. My confidence in Morgan Riley is probably as low now as it's ever been.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not confident in him, but I agree with you. I think maybe Morgan Riley came into the league young. He plays a skating game. He's never shied away from the hit. That type of a player that is fast and real. They age, man. They age. I mean, he's not an old man. I think he's a 94, so he'd be early 30s. But he's played enough hockey that guys that are 35, 37 haven't played as much minutes in the National Hockey League as him. He played a lot of minutes for a lot of time.
A lot of miles on the body, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't disagree. I think he's certainly on the downside. What's he got left for term, Nolan?
I believe he has 5 years left, or three, 4, 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah. I would expect them to maybe look at moving him I think he'd be a good guy to go to Vancouver, where he's from, and finish it off there. But Toronto would probably have to eat some of that, man. I'm telling you.
But so, like at that point, though, like again, I'm not of the mindset necessarily that we've got to eat money to get rid of him. I don't think we're at that point. But what I'm saying is, as we get into next year, I think it's fairly obvious now that he can't be a number one option anymore. Like, unless he does a Johnny Toronto, right? Last year
he plays a different position. But
I'm just saying from a performance level, right? Even last year with Tavares's performance last year versus Tavares's performance this year, worlds apart, right? So it's I'm not saying I'm putting Morgan Riley out to pasture. I'm just saying for this year and where we are right now going into the playoffs, this is a problem, right? It's an uncomfortable problem. And I don't necessarily know what the answer is, because Tanev and McCabe are so good together. I don't think it's almost malpractice to take them apart.
Yeah.
And then you just got to hope that Brandon Carlo is going to be able to help him enough that he gets by. I was doing some, I've heard a lot of people go on about his plus minus, and he's minus 21 this year, and blah blah blah.
I don't like that stat. Never have.
Well, I'm gonna.
16 of them were empty netters too.
This is exactly what I was gonna say, Nolan. Right? When he's on the ice all the time in those late pressure situations where you're pouring on a goal and you've got the goalie out, I'm 16 goals. That's he's really what, a -5 then. If
his team's winning, right? At the end of the day, he's miniature teams.
That's what I mean. So at a -5 and you're playing 25 or 28 minutes a night, you can live in that wheelhouse, right?
I've been a little hesitant to jump on the Morgan Riley slander this season, just because a couple years ago he had not a good season.
Yeah.
But then in the playoffs against Tampa,
all world,
probably the best defenseman in that series over Hedman. He had an overtime winner, game tire, sending him to overtime.
He's aging, right? You gotta pick his spots, and you gotta distribute his ice to make sense. He's a very effective player. He's for even if he slows down a little bit, he's very positionally sound. He's usually on the right side of the puck, but you gotta limit how much time he's out there, especially you get into a multiple overtime game. He's not going to help you in the 4th, 5th, 6th period. If you're playing him 20, 25 minutes or 22 minutes or whatever, put him down to a mid 6 number, in the 16 to 18. And I think he'll be good, but you're going to sacrifice another good player depending on who, so you gotta figure out that sweet spot, but minute management is going to be massive with a guy like that, right? He's been around. He's got a lot 100%. Of miles. Yeah.
And listen, I think we all saw what OEL can do in the playoffs in the right, being managed correctly.
He's the same guy, right? He's the same, falls in the same category.
And so that's the thing though, right? Now we've got, unfortunately, let's call it what it is for now. We got a diminishing asset in Riley, who we've got to be concerned with, which effectively, does that make Brandon Carlo our number one guy? I guess it does, right?
Depends on what zone.
Well, I mean,
Tanev's your number one guy. Tanev's your number one guy.
Right, but Tanev is going to be playing in a shutdown capacity, right, against the other team's best. So you're different things, right? And that's what I was saying earlier about splitting up him and McCabe. I don't think you can do it, right? I just, at this point in time, they've looked as good as a pair of defensemen. I can't even remember the last time we had guys, two guys that played that kind of game where they were on the ice and you went, no, we're good.
Yeah, but Kaber can handle 22, 23, 24 minutes at his age. The other OEL and Morgan can't. So is it OEL and Morgan as a pairing that's kind of your, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'd look at it for sure. I'd look at everything right now. That's what you got 10 or 12 games left to get ready for.
Okay, so let's get into something else that is a little uncomfortable. And we gave up a first round pick for Scott Lawton to come in and be our third line center.
He's playing the wing.
Now he's playing the wing with Max Domi. I listen, just my impression. You guys know I said this when we got him. Okay, I guess. I have not seen anything out of Scott Lawton so far that makes me go, whew, glad we picked that guy up. Gave up a first rounder for that guy. Now listen,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be surprised in the playoffs, and maybe he's that guy in the playoffs with the jam that we need. I'm just saying, from early returns,
Yeah, you know what? I'm not worried about him. He's been around long enough. You're learning a new system. There's a lot going on. He's got 2 young kids. They're moving. He's got family in the area. There's a lot of noise right now for him. I'm not worried. I think, and again on the position thing, you've heard me say it a million times. I coach that you have 3 forwards and one guy takes the draw, and then we fill up the zones, and there's I don't care if you're the center iceman or the winger or the left winger or right winger. We all have to take care of responsibilities, and one guy's over here and other guy's here. So whether he's playing the wing or center, he's a good hockey player that adds to that middle 6. I didn't like seeing him on the 4th line the other night. I think that, if you're giving up a first round pick for a 4th liner, that's problematic, but we'll see. I mean, he's struggling, a lot of pressure. Let's face it, going home, to your town and the team, he wanted to go there. Everybody knew it. That's why, I was a little surprised they had to pay so much for him based on that's where he wanted to go, right?
The Toronto tax.
Yeah, for sure. I think he'll be fine. I mean, he's got some more time to figure it out, and they're going to move stuff around and make sure, all bases are covered. Where should this guy be? Where's he going to help our hockey club, and kind of go from there. Yeah.
Noel, what are you thinking?
I'm just looking back. So we were talking about the decor a couple minutes ago, like the Morgan Riley stuff. I just decided to look back at the Game 7 lineup when Toronto lost to Montreal. We had a decor of Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, Travis Dermott, Justin Hall, Sandin, and Bogosian, with Martin Marincin and Ben Hutton. This is 2 extras.
Martin Marincin, there's a name.
So that's a pretty big, sizable upgrade now, having Tanev, McCabe, Carlo, OEL.
Yeah, night and day.
Yeah.
You're talking about, a Stanley Cup worthy decor, but you got to stay healthy, and you got to manage the minutes the right way. Right?
Yeah.
Some of these matchups, especially in the East, are going to be very tight. 2-1 games, 1-1, 2-2, overtime. Nobody's giving up anything. So, conditioning will come into play, the age of your team. And Tampa and Florida are not much. I mean, they're very similar in as far as average age. Florida might be older. Tampa might be older, too, than Toronto.
Well, Bergeron and everybody else.
They're close, though. They're close.
Yeah.
They're close. So, but, Boston's a mess. They're done. Ottawa's scary.
Can we
Montreal
just take
could
a
be
moment,
scary.
though? Can we just take a moment to just enjoy the fact that Boston's a mess?
Yeah,
Can we just take that moment and just breathe it in? Like, it makes me feel happy.
I think the best part about it is that you get a player like Carlo available, because you don't just right-handed, big, physical, 22-minute defensemen don't come on trees.
Yeah.
Especially for what we had to give up.
Fraser Minton had a natural Hattie with the Providence Bruins a couple days ago, but
God love him. I hope he does well too.
College free agent signing yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Supposed to be the best college free agent in a couple of years.
Yeah, perfect.
6'1", two-way forward, gritty centerman. People call him.
And looking at the draft board, the OHL has on what's his name there? Craig Button's picks, his top 3. And Misa's up to 2. They got, is it Schaefer? At 1, and then Martone, Porter Martone from I think Hamilton or Brantford now. I guess they are.
Brampton,
big, heavy.
We're having a tough time in Hamilton.
He's going to be a Corey Perry, Brady Tkachuk type player. Big, heavy, good hands, drive to the net, good leader. So whoever's going to get Porter Martone is going to. He may be, if I was drafting first overall, and I've watched them all kind of. I mean, obviously Schaefer's special in a defense. That's the premium there. But Porter Martone is going to be a captain of a National Hockey League team. His dad played. Dad was drafted by Buffalo. Dad was drafted by Buffalo. Never played. His older brother played on the Brick team out of Detroit last year, so he's at 2014, like my son, and he played for the Detroit Red Wings. They won the Brick, and the Martone kid was a goaltender. But Mike, I forget the dad's name. He played. I met him with Paul Byron. We were in Montreal, or we were in Toronto, and Byron played with the dad in the minors in Rochester or something when they were in the Buffalo organization. So, but yeah, this kid's a real deal. Have you watched him play, Nolan, in the Martone?
Yeah, no, he's pretty good. You saw him in the World Juniors too. Big guy, like, big power forward.
Big, heavy, big shot. Plays the right way.
They got James Haggins. I think Craig Bennett had James Haggins ranked 6 now.
6 or 7, yeah.
And he's projected to be number 1 at the start of the year. So
a lot of these guys jumped up ahead of him. Good for them.
Hey,
and then what? So you got Philly.
I'll always take that guy who slid a little bit and's got something to prove. I like guys like that.
Well, look at Shane Wright, right? Shane Wright's 100%. A better. If you could go back and draft that right now, I'd take Shane Wright over Slavkovsky. Right now, done. Yeah. He's not slipping to 4.
No,
I mean he just needed a little time in the minors, and Seattle could afford to do that, right?
No, it's the right play.
Yeah. So coming up, we've got Philly tonight, and then the 3 California teams this week, right? Back to back with 2 of them, Saturday and Sunday. I think LA and Anaheim, something like that.
LA and Anaheim,
yeah. So I mean, you'd like to think you're getting 6 points, possibly 8 on this trip, but LA is a problem.
LA's a problem at home. We talked about that. I mean, that's their.
So prediction wise, I'm going to say 5 points out of 8 this week. What are you going to say, Noel?
I'm going to go 6. Like you said, I think we get all of them except lose to LA.
Okay. What do you got?
Well, listen, we gave away the Nashville game, so we got to make that up. So I'm going to say we need, if we're going to win the division, we got to run the table here, and hope we get a little luck. And so my thinking here is that this is Berube, and he's going to break this into 3-game mini tournaments, right? And just say like let's worry
for
about
your spots, compete for ice,
100%, right? Yeah. And and shout out to Bobby McMatthews, because that guy, since he's moved up and he's getting the ability to play with Nylander and Tavares, I don't know about you guys, I've liked every single game he's been in, and he's been every opportunity that kid gets, he makes me smile. I see him on the ice. He's hustling. He's in the corner first. He's digging for pucks. I like everything that I've seen out of that kid. And, I hope everything breaks. Great. I hope everything breaks the right way for him, because he deserves it. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks to our sponsors, as always, Bjorn and Don Cherry Sports Grill. We'll talk to you guys next week. Enjoy the week, and the weather's starting to get nice, and golf courses are going to be open soon, right?
And let me tell you, if you're in the west part of the GTA this weekend, there is the Flamborough Skating Club is putting on their big year-end performance at JL Greitmeyer Arena in Dundas.
Oh, there you go.
Get a chance to get out there. It's going to be a fantastic show. Saturday at 3 p.m. You can get tickets at the door. It's going to be fantastic.
All right, boys. See you. Keep your stick on the ice. See you next week.
Go Leafs, go.